Cliff, just while we're talking about Z-Day, um, just I'm just looking back at like sort of the previous years that we've done Z-Day, and what have we really gotten out of it? In terms of spreading awareness or getting new people involved. I mean, the way I look at, I mean, just as an example, we had Z-Day in London, as we all know, this year. And then yourself, Cliff, you set up the event to go to the Channel 4 offices to do a bit of activism to spread awareness. And nobody, nobody came with you, Cliff, and that's in the same city as Z-Day was just a few months previous. So is it worth us all spending all this time and money? Surely we could maybe come up with something, does it have to be some sort of big event? Can we not do sort of a mass, sort of bit of activism? We all go to TV studios or something like that. Right. Just an idea.
I was just going to say that, Zen. I think we should be using Z-Day to either go to London, Channel 4 studios en masse, or to your local TV station or radio network and try and get it into the mainstream that way. Or even just have it like a mini occupation outside these studios just to get some publicity. That'd be much more effective than doing these stalls.
Yeah, I completely agree. I just think of the uptake, and I mean, if you look at the numbers, if you want to play a numbers game, especially on the global website just now, it's sitting about 478,000 members, something like that. That's not changed. In fact, I think it looks as if it's went down. So I'm just thinking, yeah, it's a good idea. It was a good idea for the first year, maybe the second year, but I mean, I think we can do a hell of a lot better with our time, money, because it does cost a lot of money and effort. I mean, I'll just throw it out. What do you guys think? I mean, what about you, Cliff? You're already sort of teetering on actually setting something up. So, what's your thoughts?
I've got a few things. First of all, regarding the global membership, as far as I'm aware, the figures which are used for people subscribing, as they call it, that's the term which Peter Joseph and other global coordinators seem to be using for conveying to whoever is listening the size of the support for the Zeitgeist movement. It's how many people subscribe to the newsletter. And that's why there's currently efforts being made, especially by Cliff from Vancouver in Canada, is taking steps to try to get all the people on all the databases, on all the various mediums to say, look, if you support the Zeitgeist movement, if you, de facto member, it's important that you subscribe to the newsletter, because that is the all-encompassing type of figure used to tell the outside world how big we are. And Cliff from Vancouver reckons it without too much effort, building on the people who already are on the database, and if they make a bit of an outreach to others who are supporters and all but name type of thing, and get them to sign the subscription email thing, which takes less than a minute. He's talking about 2 million membership, and I would say that's that isn't too far off, really. Of course, it's just a guess, but I think that's quite an important issue anyway, because we're talking about critical mass, and a lot of the numbers and membership numbers and that type of thing we have, the more credit it gives to a lot of people in their eyes. They see us as more credible the bigger we are, which isn't right, but that's the way things are. I don't know if anybody wants to comment on that before I comment on Z-Day.
Yeah, just quickly. 2 million members or subscribers, whatever way you want to sort of chop it up. We've got something like 100 million hits, watching the films. We can use those kind of numbers as well, I suppose. I probably use those ones more than I'd use any of the other ones. I mean, 2 million subscribers. I mean, how many of them are actually active Zeitgeisters? You know, that's what it all sort of boils down to. That, I guess that's where the critical mass comes in. You know, I mean, just because we all know about something doesn't mean we're all going to support it when push comes to shove. I guess that's what I'm pushing at. But I mean, I don't like playing the numbers game. But if I was going to play any numbers game, I would use the figures for the films because I think it's more tangible. But yeah, what's your thoughts on Z-Day? Sorry.
Yeah, I agree with what you say. We should have various indicators of our support and how many people are watching the films, hitting the website, subscribing to the newsletter. But as far as I'm aware, the subscription thing, they've got the total of that on the website. That's what people are going to look at when they come to the website. And anyway, I'll keep everyone posted on how that's developing. So yeah. And the other thing that comes in here is, how do we measure a successful event? I understand the global coordinators are taking steps to try to find out ways of doing that, and that would be very valuable information which can tell us if what we're doing is a waste of time or whatever. I think the idea of Z-Day is for all the chapters, and this has been the message since the start, has it not? That all the chapters should make an effort. In fact, some of the global coordinators use it as a benchmark. They say, right, if you're not holding a Z-Day, you can't really call yourself a chapter. Which struck me as going a bit far, but that was Gilbert's point of view. But what I would say is that I think the thinking along those lines is quite sound, really, because they're saying, let's have a global event. We're a global movement. We want global change, and we want something which will attract a global media type of angle.
I mean, let's be honest again. When was the last time the UK, or when was any time the UK did a mass activism event? All en masse, everybody within the chapters doing something all at the one time. When have we ever done something like that? So let's go for that. I think would be far more effective, spreading awareness and maybe getting some attention.
We should try and do them around the same time there's a radio show on, like the one Joe did in Sheffield, where we can all get together here and then call into the show, or texting, emailing. So there's a purpose to these meetings, and we're doing activism at the same time.
Well, the activity doesn't have to fall exactly on the Z-Day dates. It could be around about those dates. So perhaps we could coincide that with a radio broadcast and have a full-on engagement with that.
It doesn't. So we're just looking at our own cities, say Manchester. I don't actually listen to the radio, but find someone that's popular, and then we'll find out when the show is and just start calling in.
There's other things to take into consideration, isn't there? We've had the goal of going to Channel 4 with this campaign, and yet we haven't mustered up the enthusiasm to really do anything about that. And so we have to look at what is most likely to stimulate a thirst to get involved and to actually do something. That's not an easy question to answer, is it?
No, it's not.
I'll try and get hold of David Icke. He's got a mass following.
Well, I was just going to say something. It was just something that Ben said when he was in meetings a few weeks ago, and he kind of threw it out there for us all to be sort of blogging and try to get on the TV and try to be on the radio. I mean, let's not only focus on Ben. I mean, yeah, he's brilliant at it, but we should be doing these things ourselves. In our own local areas. I mean, me included. I obviously don't do enough because I've not been on the radio in Scotland. But we can always do more ourselves. We shouldn't really just be focusing on individual people to do it. But I mean, why are we here, guys? Let's get active. Let's do shit. Let's bring about this stuff. We're not going to do it by doing stalls and speaking in town halls and doing Z-Day events. I don't think so anyway. It's not going to breed much results. It hasn't done so far. Yeah, or talking in here. Sorry, I'll shut up.
Will it
That's
be
very
safe?
negative. That's very negative, Zen. You know, a lot's been done, mate. A lot, and you know, you go to these. Listen, on Friday night I was at a big do, and you know, I talked to a lot of people there. This is a big corporate do. A lot of people had heard of the movement. A lot of people have heard of the films, had seen the movies. I got into a big conversation with a Coots banker. He's virtually turned around already. The thing about Z-Day, you're missing the point about Z-Day. The Z-Day is specifically for the movement. It's an opportunity for the movement to focus on things. Yeah. Okay, and the people who are within the movement. Now, Z-Day last year gave an opportunity for 9 or 10 people in the movement to speak publicly, yeah, and to set an example to other people within the movement. Look, you know, everybody here can step up and do it. And as you said about Ben is not the only person in the movement. There's other people in the movement. But one thing you've got to get used to, right, as well, is that with these political, social, like, single issue movements, when you start off in them, it's the same group of people over and over again who are continuously stepping up, doing stuff, being involved, and all the rest of it. Okay, so don't expect too much too soon. But a lot is happening behind the scenes that you don't realize, and when I say behind the scenes, I mean for the general public overall. People know about these things. They're slowly becoming aware about them. They're slowly engaging. I mean, next week I've got a talk at my local Richmond and Kingston Environmental Centre. They've invited me to come down and talk about the movement. The following week I've got a screening of the movie and talk about it afterwards there. And it's up to you individually. Instead of just asking each other what to do and what we should do and this, that, and the other, go out and just fucking do it.
Tom, you kind of just agreed to what I just said, and honestly, I don't miss the point with Z-Day. I get it, but I just don't think we're getting. I think we could be doing hell of a lot more because we have a goal, and the goal isn't to have a Z-Day event. The goal is to achieve something more than Z-Day. And that's just my point. And I know a lot of people are doing great work. I'm not saying people aren't doing great work. I just think we can do better work. That's all. We could all do more, me included, obviously.
Could it be fair to say then that we are feeling maybe that it's a lack of motivation, when really it's not really a lack of motivation? It's the fact that we see what's going on and we see the fact that it's all speeding up, and we're just thinking that we should be somewhere sooner. Does that make sense?
What I think it is, it's smaller groups find it harder to organise a Z-Day, and it can cause a lot of stress because people would like to do one. I think we should concentrate on one Z-Day a year. That would be a lot easier to organise.
No, that's a valid point.
Whether you can attend it or not, you can do your bit to help if you can. And if you can't attend, well, one year you probably will. It'd make it a lot easier to be able to do it without no stress.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, well, maybe we should focus, on advertising the Z-Day event in London. Because I know what it's like trying to organise something up in Scotland. We have a lot of members up in Scotland, but Andy and the rest of the guys that are here will vouch for it. It is quite hard to organise things and get a lot of people out to do stuff. So, and then you can end up putting a lot of time and effort into a Z-Day event, especially in Glasgow or Edinburgh, and get nothing back in it and end up taking a huge loss. So maybe it is a good idea just to focus on the one and give that a good shot. Everybody publicise that. Maybe that would be more successful then. And then we could all do our own sort of activism things throughout as coordinated on the same day in the other towns and cities.
I noticed Dara's entered the welcome room. Do you think it's best to call him in? Give us some advice?
Advice on what?
I don't know. I'm just putting forward the suggestion or so.
I think that'll be a good idea, Brian.
I'll do it now.
Sorry, why do we need somebody to come in and tell us anything? Can we not work this out ourselves, guys? We don't need. We live in the UK. Let's see what we can do ourselves.
I'm not saying that you come down here and tell us. I'm saying about advice, suggesting some advice is all. I think the more just on these alternatives that's been proposed here, the better.
Well, while we're waiting for that, if other people want to come in, those who haven't spoken yet, you're welcome to give your view on Z-Day.
Z-Day's a long way off anyway. Why are we talking about it now? Shouldn't we really be talking about alternatives that we can maybe promote to the public?
Well, yes, we can, but I feel we haven't quite finished with this topic yet, so let's give it a while longer. It is supposed to be one of the key dates in the Zeitgeist movement, so let's make a bit more effort to try to make it so everyone backs it and we have good targets. Before I do go on to the next topic, if anybody wants to give a chapter update, now's the time. Hello, Dar. We're just discussing the next Z-Day.
Oh, I see. Well, I'm kind of short on time to give all my tips. But I advise you to have several mini events or smaller events a week before the actual main event, so it can promote the main event. They should be like scattered and these small things like screening and things like that. For the Z-Day itself, I cannot really suggest anything without having a deeper understanding of the resources that the London chapter has and can put forward to organize the event.
Are most chapters, as far as you're aware, holding indoor events on Z-Day?
As far as I know, yes. Some may hold outdoor events, but that kind of depends on the weather and again the resources they have, because much Z-Day events are focused with video projection and similar, and that's it's a lot more easier to hold an event that has media projection indoors than outdoors, because in outdoors you require higher potency in the projector and other conditions and etc.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much established fact that to have media show is very attractive and does get a lot of people in.
Yeah, I agree. And if it's outdoors and in a very visible area, it should get a lot of attention. The thing is, you have to decide what you want your event specifically to be. If it's something to attract lots of new people, you gotta go probably outdoor. If it's to engage in intellectual development and discussion, you probably want an indoors event.
Yeah, that's an important distinction there. Because I have a feeling many of our UK chapters will want to do an outdoor event.
Well, I suggest trying out both, if possible. It all depends on the size. But as for Z-Day, my general recommendation is keep the events the most scattered and as numerous as possible. That way you have more points of how do I say this? Basically, you get more visible for a short time basically. Get more visible on the street, because people will people will start talking about, I saw them in X, I saw them in Y, and your chances of having this circulating are much higher when you have several events in several places than just one in one place.
Sorry to interrupt that. This, the screening that we went to, I think it was Zeitgeist Moving Forward, when Peter Joseph was in London. How many people did we have at those screenings?
Don't recall exactly. I think I wasn't on the screening day, but I heard there were like 300 or 200. I don't recall.
There seemed to be just under 1,000. But this is what epitomises it for me. We all sat in there watching a movie that a lot of us have seen more than once, instead of going out onto the street, and doing some type of activism. That says it all for me. It's just it's verbal masturbation.
Well, I agree to a certain extent. Of course, gathering all activists that really know this to spend almost 3 hours of their life focused on a single place is not very productive.
Yeah, should have been out on the street. Mr. Deathcare wanted to do something, but nobody else did. I think most of our work, like Jack said, is online, and that's where it should be for the moment. But if we are going to meet up or have one event in public, then let's make the most of it and try and get as much publicity as we can.
Oh, well, Jack right. Is Jack right? Do we need to get it on a major motion movie picture? Was Jack right with that?
Well, I meant Jack in the chat, not Jack Fresco.
Well, I'm on about Jack Fresco. Well, what comes out of, is was Jack right? Getting it on a major motion movie picture to get the ideas out there of how a resource-based economy would be like to live in it.
I'll just say one last thing on this. I think if we do the same things that we've done for the last 2 years, I don't feel that we're developing. We're stagnating if we do that.
I totally agree. I think we should. I mean, we're supposed to be bright people here. I mean, let's think outside the box and do something a bit different. Well, let's put it this way. Let's try it for this one, and if it doesn't work, then we know. But at least we give it a try. Rather than just sort of dismissing it and not doing anything about it. So I mean, let's give it a bash. If it doesn't work, then we go back to just speaking to each other in halls, and see how that is. But I mean, I think we should be doing something. I mean, what Lee was saying about the film, is that the right way to go forward? Well, the thing is, I mean, we already have the films, so I mean, we don't have to worry about making a film. All we have to do is get people to see it.